Thursday, August 6th, 2026. I'm Jeremy Wolf, founder and CEO of Open Athletes, former MLB draft pick. And good morning. Today's show is going to be very exciting, a new one for us. We're going to talk about the things that we're here to talk about. Sports, business, technology, the intersection into politics, the intersection into the things that makes sport the thing. And we do have a guest today. My friend Jake Fishman is going to be here. Former MLB player, the co-founder and CEO of Pitch Lab, which is a very, very interesting new app that he's developing where you can become a better pitcher. And that is the goal for every single pitcher. I am not a pitcher. I do not coach pitching. I am not doing the pitching. So I'm excited to see what he tells us about the thing that he's building. And former MLB draft pick, just having the initiative to say, this is something I think is valuable. I'm going to build this thing. I'm going to spend my time building this thing. Good for Jake Fishman. I'm excited to see him on here. We'll have him on in 36-ish minutes. But in the meantime, it's time for quick hits. Coming up on today's show, an offensive lineman in Chicago just got $93 million guaranteed. And I want to talk to you about why that's important. Assets are getting paid like assets. We talked yesterday about Bijan Robinson. Bijan making $51 million guaranteed. I don't know, man. He's worth a lot more than $51 million guaranteed, but running backs are going to be paid like running backs. LIV Golf found a mystery investor, and the twist is that players might end up owning the league. Money's going to win out. Who's going to stay in LIV? Who's not? Are they going to merge with the PGA Tour? What are we going to do? Am I going to be able to watch just a random golf tournament but have Scottie Scheffler and Brooks Koepka there? If the whole career of a professional golfer is built around majors, then these little weekend tournaments, I mean, the purses of these tournaments are like $20 million. I get to watch Koepka and DeChambeau all at the same time on LIV, or I could tune into the 3M Open, and I can watch Scheffler, Wyndham Clark, maybe Rory if he's there. Right, like, what is the value of watching golf on television right now? Okay, the PGA Tour's got, a couple of guys in it this weekend. Great. LIV's got more stars on it than the PGA Tour does. LIV is 3 days. Everyone's starting at the same time. You make a pros and cons list. Of watching on television. You make a pros and cons list. LIV Golf is more entertaining. You make a pros and cons list about who's worse for golf. LIV takes the cake on that one too. But if the majors are everything, if the majors are what matters, and everybody can participate in the majors, and then John Rahman goes and signs a guaranteed contract to get that money, good on him. If the PGA Tour is unwilling to do that and is like, well, now we're going to have this little top 70 get in, whatever. It's just, these golfers should have been able to collectively bargain and not allowed to. They're allowed to. They're not. But Tiger and Rory have their best interest in mind. That whole thing was, again, not good for golf. Maybe good for golf. More people tuned in. More opportunities to watch very good golf. Did it fissure golf, professional golf? Well, if PGA Tour is a monopoly and competition comes in and you have investment, I'm not talking about the source of the investment. Obviously, part of the problem of why LIV Golf was the issue, but on the whole, having two golf leagues that were one better than the other in the terms of its star power, and everybody can play in majors, Is having 2 leagues on the same weekend bad for golf? Yes. Is having 2 leagues of equal star power, one more than the other, bad for golf? Yes. I wish everybody could play together. However, there was an opportunity to create another league. Players went over to that other league, and that other league was unwilling to compromise. I could go on about LIV Golf. The Atlanta Braves lost $18.5 million in a quarter and handed you a case study on what happens when you fire your TV network and become the network. More than 100 college women's basketball players are trying to unionize, and Oregon State just did something nobody's done before. PSG handed the keys to Google's AI. Scott Coker raised $60 million to punch the UFC in the mouth. You see what I did there? And a former NBA journeyman named Josh Childress is quietly building the athlete investor playbook the rest of us should be stealing. Then today's take, the one asset you already own and keep giving away for free. Plus, Jake Fishman. I'm going to talk about his company, Pitch Lab, and I'm excited to see that. The Braves TV bill is coming due everywhere. When your media revenue line has an asterisk, that's the old model dying. For me, am I going to tune in to cable to watch the Diamondbacks? No, because I don't want cable and I don't gotta. But I'm not going to watch MLB TV, and I can't because it's still blacked out. Unless they got rid of that without me knowing. Unless they got rid of that without me knowing. If I get MLB Network and pay for it, or MLB TV pay for it, I can't even watch my home team. If that's still a thing in 2026, the NBA gambling case got uglier. Prosecutors say Terry Rozier's co-defendant tried to tamper with a witness, including posting rat emojis on Instagram. The whole scandal traces to a $70,000 tip on Rozier leaving a game early. We talk about sports betting here. When sports betting goes wrong, things like this happen. Quick hit number 3. WNBA season tickets are exploding. Talked about this a bit yesterday. Some Mystics Mercury seats up 60 to 200% for 2027. The league jumps to a 50-game season. Mazel tov. Should be more. WNBA is entertaining. More games means pay the players more. More games means making more money on tickets. Reps blamed player raises. The union called that inaccurate. Pay them more. Don't punish me. Don't punish me, the fan. Punish the advertisers. Don't punish me. I want to see more WNBA games. I want to go to more WNBA games. I want them to be paid more. But don't tax me, the fan. You don't have to tax me, the fan. Quick hit number 4. The Bears made it rain on the trenches. Darnell Wright, $93 million guaranteed, most ever for an offensive lineman. We'll come back to this. Friend of the show, Taylor Luan. We went to high school together. He was a senior, I was a freshman. At one time, I think for a week, I had the highest paid contract for an offensive lineman. Yes, Darnell Wright, give him $93 million guaranteed. Honestly, what did I say about Bijan? Bijan's worth more. Is Darnell Wright worth more than $93 million guaranteed? If Kirk Cousins got $100 million guaranteed, this is quarterback. It's different. It's apples and oranges. I know, but I just think these guys are getting underpaid. The NFL's making uncapped billions. They're sharing revenue because of all TV deals, blah, 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 blah. Bijan Robinson is worth more than $51 million guaranteed. Give me a break. Quick hit number 5. Google bought a soccer club's whole brain. PSG, Paris Saint-Germain. Named Gemini its official AI, and Pixel its official phone through 2029. Players are now going to shoot content on the phone. Gemini is going to study everything that it can and gobble up all the data. Yum, 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 yum. Is this a home run or not? Is this good for sports or not? It's PSG doing things with AI, and they pick Gemini to do it. Instead of Genius Sport IQ, like we talked about yesterday. Fine. 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 Open Athletes is presented by Athletes Fund, the venture fund that backs current and former athletes building companies. Yay! It's very early in the morning for me. Darnell Wright resets the O-line market, $116 million for his contract, $93 million guaranteed. Leverage. Darnell Wright signs a 4-year, $160 million extension. Had the leverage, most guaranteed money for an offensive lineman in history. Good on him. He's worth more. A record for the position. Wright was the number 10 pick in 2023. Started all 17 games as a rookie. Second team All-Pro. Did it on a torn ligament. Jeremy, this is a business technology sports show. You're a former professional baseball player. Why are you opening the show on an offensive lineman's contract for 100 years? The offensive line was the least paid, least sexy job in football. Those guys whose only job is to protect the most valuable asset, the quarterback, the running back. They got paid like furniture. What changed is teams did the math. If you're a $200 million quarterback, and is the most expensive thing that you own, the most valuable asset that you have, protecting him isn't overhead, it's insurance. And insurance on a $200 million asset is worth $93 million guaranteed right now in today's NFL. So his job, he's an asset, of course, to his team. He's worth $100 million to his team. Yes. But on the field to that offense, he's an insurance policy, and you got to spend the money to have the best one. Now, did the Dallas Cowboys spend the money on having the best offensive line, however many years ago when they were actually considered to be in contention? Yes. Did that work? I think so much of that offense didn't work. To where it didn't matter. It ultimately didn't matter then for the Dallas Cowboys to have that much money in their offensive line because they couldn't make it work. Can the Chicago Bears, spending $116 million on Darnell Wright make it worthwhile? Bears are investing in Caleb Williams by investing in Darnell Wright. The extension includes $93 million in guaranteed money per Rappaport and Fowler. The most for an offensive lineman in NFL history, and makes Wright one of the highest paid tackles in the league. At $29 million a year, Wright becomes the highest paid right tackle in NFL. Trails only Washington's Laramie Tunsil, $30.1 billion for the lead among tackles. Good for him. Good for the market of offensive linemen. Good. This is a good thing. Offensive linemen being paid is a very good thing. That makes me happy. LIV's mystery backer. Players might become owners? Per Front Office Sports, LIV Golf CEO Scott O'Neill said Wednesday at Trump Bedminster that LIV signed a term sheet with a new lead investor to replace the Saudi private investment fund, which spent $6 billion since 2022 and exits after this season. The name of the investor and the size of his investment or her investment or their investment or the fund's investment is undisclosed. Per LIV's statement, the next chapter would make the players the majority equity holders, a first for major global league. LIV aims to close in September. The headline isn't LIV found money, which they did. It's a major league is about to be majority owned by its athletes. Not hype. This might be a distressed asset story dressed as empowerment. Purse is cut from $30 million to $10 million per event, 13 to 14 events down to 10, and LIV reportedly still owes stars like Jon Rahm some of the money that he came over to sign for. Sometimes equity is a vision. Sometimes it's just cheaper than cash, but the mechanism is the lesson. The direction of travel, LIV, unrivaled. Athletes are buying in. Is players holding equity instead of just salary. You don't have to be a LIV golfer to run this play. Take equity instead of a fee. The ask is 3 words. Give me ownership. I love the conversation between the PGA Tour and LIV Golf, because we're talking about a league that's run as things are traditionally run. PGA Tour, not making changes at all when guys are leaving, just kind of holding steady. The asset is fine. The entertainment value is fine. Guys use it to get ready for the majors, fine. PGA Tour, friend of the show, they may not like my thoughts on it, on the fact that it is less entertaining. Now, is LIV Golf more entertaining? Well, LIV Golf ponied up the money that was provided by the Saudi private investment fund. I'm putting that aside. I'm talking about the on-field component, the entertainment value of that component. There are stars on that were committed to those 10 to 15 tournaments a year. And this might be my hottest take, certainly of today, but it might be my hottest take to say that LIV Golf had the right intentions in mind to disrupt PGA Tour. And I understand completely why guys did not want to go over to LIV Golf. Understood. Totally understood why they didn't want to go. I understand completely why some guys did want to go. Harold Varner getting $30 million to go over to LIV? Yes. Go. Your job is to play golf and make a living. And if you can do that on a league that actually cares that you're over there by investing in you at that level, fine. Don't hate Harold Varner for taking the contract. LIV Golf says new lead investors signed, but big questions still remain. LIV Golf CEO Scott O'Neill announced the league has secured a new lead investor that will fund LIV moving forward. The identity of the new investor was not revealed, nor how much money has been committed. O'Neill previously said that LIV was seeking to raise $350 million to keep the league afloat in 2027 and beyond. The mystery backer will be replacing the Saudi private investment fund, which announced in April they would stop funding LIV after the 2026 season, which ends later this month, after spending around $6 billion on the league since launching in 2022. We're very fortunate that a lead investor has signed a term sheet approved by our board, which will carry and fund LIV going forward. O'Neill said at a press conference in front of the media, LIV staffers, team GMs, other league personnel. So it's very good news for us. This is real-time information. We have good excitement. LIV's new mystery investor, we don't know. They have agreed in place with the lead investor. Who is that lead investor? Is it the PGA Tour? Is it Rory McIlroy? Notably, on our next chapter, we'll make our players the majority equity holders in LIV Golf, a first for a major global sports league, and gives the league the foundation to keep growing the game worldwide. We anticipate finalizing terms in the coming weeks, with the goal of entering a transaction in September. In the meantime, our focus is on delivering a great week for fans and players at Bedminster, at finishing the 2026 season strong. Okay. Sure. Am I going to watch this weekend? Depends on where it is. Depends. Depends on what channel. I know where it is. Depends on what channel it's on. Because is it appointment television? Well, if Phil's there, and I don't think he's going. If Phil's there, if Kepka's there, if Rom's there, if DeChambeau's there, what is their roster? Who else is on LIV Golf? Who is on LIV Golf still? Who is on LIV Golf still? Cameron Smith? Yes. Dustin Johnson? Tyrrell Hatton? Koepka's gone. My bad. Patrick Reed's gone. Kevin Na. Lee Westwood and Graham McDowell facing expiring contracts. Again, it depends. Scotty Scheffler, Cameron Young, Matt Fitzpatrick, Wyndham Clark, Colin Morikawa, Rory, Xander Schauffele, Victor Hovland, Ludwig Elberg, Akshay Bhatia, Keegan Bradley, Patrick Cantlay, Wyndham Clark, Jason Day, Ricky Fowler, all on the PGA Tour. Okay. When you look at the roster side by side, I get it. PGA Tour is a little bit stronger. Okay? I said it. I admitted it. I will admit when I'm wrong here. Yeah, but I mean, like, both just normal weekends, not majors, or stinkers anyway. Fine. But the roster of PGA Tour is much stronger. Yes. I get it. Okay? With Koepka leaving, with Phil not going there, is Dustin Johnson going to every tournament? If I'm just going to go watch Jon Rahm and Bryson DeChambeau, you're right. I'm wrong. I get it. I honestly... PGA Tour roster includes Scotty, Cameron Young, Matt Fitzpatrick, the top 5 in the world, including Rory. Fine. We're getting to the end of this. Saga. We'll see what the new investors have. We'll see everything. Sure. I'm excited to see. Topic 3. The Braves lose $18.5 million. Boring accounting, that's actually the future of every team you root for. Atlanta Braves Holdings, publicly traded. So we get the receipts. Posted an $18.5 million operating loss for Q2. A year ago, that quarter was a $41.8 million gain. A swing of $60 million per Front Office Sports and the Atlanta Braves. Media-related revenue fell 10% to $72.9 million. Year-to-date media revenue down 12%. They blamed the timing of revenue recognition under Braves Vision linear distribution agreements, their new owned platform launching in April after exiting the RSN model. Translation: the Braves fired their regional sports network and started their own. Short-term, cost them money. But Front Office Sports says Braves Vision is already outpacing D2C projections. They ate a visible $18 million punch to own the pipe to their fans forever. That's the trade every builder faces in miniature. Keep the guaranteed check from the platform that owns your audience, or eat a lean quarter and own the relationship. The Braves have a balance sheet that they can absorb. Yes. You might not. So know exactly what you're giving up for the easy check. There's 162 Major League Baseball games. There's more opportunities for advertising, making money on these regional TV networks. That's the reason why Major League Baseball has been so lucrative over the last however many years. 30 years. But the Braves going direct to consumer, as we'll say, make it more accessible and easy for me as a fan to participate in the thing that you are doing. And don't have it be subject to the fact that I got to watch it on Fox Sports Net, whatever they used to do, or I got to watch it on RSN, or I got to watch it on Bally Sports, or whatever. Do what the Yankees do. Own the network that's distributing your games. In the minute, you're the talent on the field and own your distribution. We talk about it every single day. But for the Braves to lose $18 million on it, is it because of advertising? Are they losing money on the advertising? Braves Vision rollout drags Braves revenue lower. The club's battery revenue rose 14% in the quarter to $28.7 million. The Braves are still bullish on the long-term potential of its new Braves Vision, but the team-owned and operated broadcasting venture continues to cloud the team's near-term finances. Revenue fell 2% from the same time a year ago to a new total $305.1 million, while operating income swung from a prior $41.8 million gain to an $18 million loss. Is it worth them to continue to pursue this investment? Is it worth them to continue to pump money, potentially even exceed the luxury tax in their payroll, spend money as a franchise? Are they going to make that money? Traditionally, you'd make that money back on the regional TV contract. The regional sports network, which debuted in March, was cited as a primary driver to the reductions in operating income and adjusted profit for the quarter, though the team framed that as something as an accounting situation. At least they're not hiding money, I guess. More specifically, the Braves said its newly renamed media-related revenue fell 10% in the quarter to $72.9 million, with the team calling out timing of revenue recognition under Braves Vision linear distribution agreements. We are encouraged by the success, says the Braves. What is success? Club's revenue in this area rose 14% in the quarter to $28.7 million. Fueled in part by its assets. MLB's only publicly traded U.S.-based team. The Braves are near lock to return to the postseason this year, holding a 7.5 game in the National League East entering Wednesday. Is it a good product on the field? Yes. The Atlanta Braves are good. Are people going to tune in nationally? If you're a Braves fan. Are people going to tune in Atlanta? Well, if you want to watch the Braves, you're going to watch it on not MLB TV, right? Because local games are still blacked out, right? If you want to watch the Atlanta Braves, you're going to subscribe to Braves Vision. Mets. Oregon State women's hoops files to unionize. Thank goodness. It's finally happening. I tried a couple years ago with Northwestern football. Yes, sure. Okay, great. I used that when I was building the union for minor leaguers. I said, well, Northwestern tried to. It can't be that hard for minor leaguers to try to. It was. The United College Athletes Association say 100 plus women's basketball players signed up to unionize Oregon State's team, filed a petition with the Oregon Employment Relations Board. Yes, do it. Per Extra Points in Yahoo, prior attempts Northwestern football, Dartmouth men's basketball were private schools under the federal NLRB. Oregon State is a public university, so players file to be recognized as state employees. First step. Ask Oregon State to voluntarily recognize the union. I would say possible, not likely. So why does being a public school matter and not a private school like Northwestern, Dartmouth men's basketball. The federal board changes with the White House. This one is not in favor of supporting or funding the NLRB and or recognizing unions in this particular way. An effort stalled to avoid an unfriendly board. The state level door, as a state employee through a state institution like Oregon State, if you are watching Oregon State women's basketball, players who are unionizing in Oregon, I will do anything I can to help you. I built More Than Baseball. More Than Baseball is currently the largest body of unionized athletes in pro sports. I have seen collective leverage up close. I have been in the rooms negotiating. I have thought about this deeply in my professional and personal life and career. There's two things that you need to do. Number one, ask the right questions when appropriate. Number two, all you need to focus on is getting the union votes signed and recognized. Obviously, try to get the best deal you can. If you can get everything to that point. Obviously, like, don't leave things on the table if don't leave things on the table. That's bad. But having something recognized, a collective bargaining action that takes the steps in year 1 is going to be much stronger by year 5 as you keep the fight going against the other party who right now controls the reins to those monies. When we were running More Than Baseball, someone said, well, we're going to have to, if we raise the cost, if we raise the price, how much we're charging for the players, how much money we're giving to the players, we're going to have to cut rounds in the draft. We're going to have to cut teams. You know that's the byproduct, right? That's the toughest thing that you can ever decide to do. As someone who's trying to unionize a body of athletes, but an individual body of employees. Okay, the ones that remain are going to be treated fairly. They shrunk the draft to 20 rounds. Players not get paid $40,000 a year. They might cut more teams. You know, the Appalachian League is no more, right? This whole push took high-level professional baseball out of Johnson City, Tennessee. What is the United College Athletes Association going to change in Oregon State and women's college basketball for participants in this union? It's not the first time college athletes have attempted to unionize. This might be the first one at a public university. Previous attempts came at Northwestern, Dartmouth men's basketball, and the distinction is important because it means the legal and administrative process won't be the same. The NLRB, a federal agency whose membership is shaped by the current presidential administration, governs unionization among private employers. Formal unionization efforts in many institutions have paused, slowed, in part of or to reluctance to bring a case to the NLRB under Republican administration that's less likely to be favorable towards organized labor. But the Oregon State women's basketball players are specifically filing union representation under Oregon State University, which would make them public employees. Good. Whoever's advising them, making the right choices. Whoever's with them, call me. I will help you as much as I can. Will Oregon State recognize them voluntarily? Unlikely. But they have an opportunity to do something that's never been done in college sports. Good on them. I've been part of these efforts before. You're going to be on the New York Times. You're going to be in the Washington Post. I'll give you the playbook. Forbes is going to call you. Washington Post is going to call you. New York Times is going to call you if the Washington Post calls you. ESPN's going to call. Everyone's going to call you. You're going to tell the same story from outlet to outlet to outlet. You're going to say, players need to unionize. This is the first. We believe in Oregon State doing the right thing. They're not. Capitulate. Say the right things. Don't make enemies. Don't burn bridges. Don't burn bridges. Don't piss them off. Don't do that. If you say the right things at the right time, get the right cadence, the public will not turn against you. All you got to do, if 100 people are signing up, and that's a collective bargaining unit that you're going to go with, and it's already signed and done, and you're just waiting for recognition, get the thing. People are going to get cold feet. I've been there. I've seen it. Do the right thing. More Than Baseball is like, in the shadows, we're going to form a union. But in public, we're going to give players food and housing and equipment and money. And we did that. And people we wanted to invest in it, invested the idea of it, did. And it was the right move for something that contentious. Professional athletes wanting to unionize. Yes. So just get in the room and get the damn thing done. And I'll help you. I'll be in the room with you if you want me to. I'll do it. Just call me. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to bring in Jake Fishman here. Top of the hour. Mr. Fishman, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
I can. This is a first here for us. You are, as I mentioned before, currently live. Our stream, currently small but mighty. And we're gonna have you on to talk about the thing that you are doing. So let me get you into the screen. Let's move this out of the way. Oh, this is good stuff. This is great. Jake, where are you? Where are you coming from?
I'm calling in from Boston, Massachusetts.
It's good that you're here. Tell me.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Tell me, Jake. We've known each other for a couple years now. I don't think we played in a game together. I think we were doing Olympic stuff at the same time.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about your career. Tell us how this whole pitch tracking from your phone thing started. Tell me more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I originally was drafted by the Blue Jays in 2016, and I was drafted out of Union College, small D3 school in upstate New York, and worked my way through the minor leagues over the course of 8 years, which is quite a long time. Finally, made it up to the big leagues with the Marlins in 2022, and then went to Oakland after that, and then went to Indie Ball after that, and then finally went to Mexico last year. And along that journey, I started having this idea of being able to track your data just using your phone, just like a TrackMan would. And essentially, started working on that early 2024. It took about 2 years to get a product to market. And while I was in Mexico last year, I was working with my co-founder, Brian, who's a physicist and computer vision engineer. And so he's a madman. And we released our first beta, and I sent it out to most of the baseball players and coaches that I knew. And the response was like so overwhelming that I packed my bags up in Mexico. I came home and I started working on Pitch Lab full time, just because I felt like the opportunity was too big to pass up, and the reaction that I got was so overwhelming that I just knew in my gut that, spending my time in Mexico playing, it would be better spent working on Pitch Lab full time.
Congratulations. How
Thank you.
how has it been since going full time? What has that transition been like for you as a former Major League Baseball player to now running this business full time?
Yeah, it's been good. It's certainly had its challenges. A lot of the emotion of leaving baseball behind, um, like I knew it would be difficult, and I've talked to many of my friends that have stopped playing and gone into whatever they were doing after playing, and everybody was like, it took probably a year plus to not be sad about missing baseball so yeah, initially it was tough, and I was kind of in this weird phase at first where I was like, I'm not done playing. I'm just doing pitch labs so we can get it off the ground and get it in a good spot, and then I'll kind of consider like maybe going back to playing again. And then like as time went on, pitch labs started growing more and more, and then eventually I was just like, okay, I need to just put baseball out of my mind, so I'm not thinking about it at all, and just focusing on pitch lab now.
Where has been the most interesting part for you? You had Pitch Lab, you had an idea, you found a co-founder, a computer vision engineer, just genius. Sure, that helps. What that's in your corner, absolutely. What when you were first building it and it first started to hit that place of wow, I think this is really going to be impactful. What led you to feel that way, and where were most of the customers coming from, or most of the users, or that trajectory?
Yeah, it's really interesting because the most interesting part to me actually is when I realized that the product does not mean much. And what I mean by that is I thought we had the best product in the world. And I still think that it's the best product in the world. But nobody was paying for it initially, because they were just downloading it. They like checked it out. They thought it was cool, whatever. Um, and then I started doing some research into marketing and like the the science of getting people to actually make the purchase or start a free trial. And that like initially we had probably about like a 0.5% of the people were starting a free trial when they downloaded pitch lab, and then did all this research, implemented all these things like making the onboarding have very specific flows to it, and showing the free trial start at the right time. And that brought us from like 0.5% to 10% of people that started a free trial on pitch lab. And my mind was just blown and kind of dumbfounded because the product did not change at all. And I was like, honestly, I was kind of upset because in my mind, everybody thinks if you have an incredible product, like people should just want to use it and pay for it. And that just couldn't be further from the truth. It's literally everything outside of that that gets people to purchase and try it out. And then once they're in the system, yes, the product needs to be good. But if you don't have all these other things, nobody's going to use or try the product.
Who's your perfect user? Who are you? Is it a left-handed guy out of the bullpen exactly like you, or is it a 12-year-old, 15-year-old kid? What is it? What is the perfect user for Pitch Lab?
Yeah. I mean, we have a lot of different characters that use Pitch Lab. We have youth players that want to track their throws and their velocity and see their progress over time. We also have everybody all the way up to a professional pitchers. We have many professional pitchers that don't have access to a TrackMan, and it's just so easy to throw your phone up that they say, this is exactly what I need. I'm just going to use it to track my bullpens and make sure that everything is moving as the way I expected and spinning the way I expected. we also have coaches all the way from youth to the professional. The perfect user to me is unbounded by age and skill level. It's just that they want to get better at baseball is like the main characteristic, that is our best users.
I'm happy for you, man. I just think this is what we do here. Okay, we got our friends on our newsletter. 6,500 people. It's amazing. We share these stories. We talk about business and sports, and now that we're starting to talk about athletes who are building stuff, and also like we want athletes to join Open Athletes so that they have a community of people building stuff. I've been in your shoes. I don't know how big your like community of people around you building on the day-to-day is, but mine was always zero. And if there was somebody, it's somebody who like didn't transition from being a professional athlete to building a business. They are much different. What is the community that you have built around you so that you stay sane and that you get the advice and support that you need?
Yeah, it's interesting because throughout the course of my playing time, I always had kind of these side projects that I was working on and side businesses, and in my opinion that was how people were able to survive in the minor leagues, because obviously we weren't getting paid much of anything, so you have to support yourself. And some people go get normal jobs on the side, and I kind of felt like I had more of the entrepreneurial style. And so I would tend to latch on to people in the minor league system that were doing similar things and had that kind of entrepreneurial spirit. And since I've left baseball, I've found some mentors that I really appreciate, that are also building or have built in the past, their own companies. And so that's kind of how I stay sane and get the advice that I'm looking for, because they've done very similar things to what I'm currently doing and trying to build and grow everything. Um, but yeah, it can be challenging because obviously you just left baseball, and you don't know anybody. you know so just trying to find some connections any way that you can. Fortunately, I've met some great people through the gym that I train at, which is just Cressy Sports Performance. They have a great baseball community, and through that, that's actually how I found my co-founder. Was his son trained at the same gym, and then our lead engineer also trains at Cressy, and he's just a normal guy that happened to be a software engineer with a background that applies to Pitch Lab. So yeah.
It's amazing, man. Congratulations.
Yeah.
What is we were both 31st round draft picks, right? 31st, 32nd?
30th.
30th. Okay.
Yes.
Beat me by 1 round. We were both late round draft picks when there were that many rounds. And I think both of us had to figure it out when our playing careers were over. What are we going to do next? What is something that you would give your drafted self on draft day, the day after draft day, as it sinks in? We think we're going to do it forever. What is something you would tell yourself about what you know now, the position you're in now?
That's a great question. So for non-baseball related stuff, I would tell myself to keep building skills that are going to one day help you when you leave baseball. And I'm glad, because that's kind of what I was doing without realizing. I would have been, knowing what I know now, I would have been more intentional about it. Whereas while I was playing in the moment, it was more of just like me having fun and making some money doing it. I would have been more intentional to like fine tune my skills, like design, video editing, learning, really getting really good at SEO. And these are kind of things that I was doing, but I didn't really take it that seriously. So that when I did get out of baseball, and now I'm obviously running Pitch Lab, all of those skills come into effect every single day. And if I had fine tuned them, things just would have gone much faster when I left baseball for when I'm trying to build my own thing. If I had to give myself advice related to baseball, it would just be to have like this relentless confidence no matter what. And I definitely felt like I had that. And I felt like the mental side of my game was a huge strong point. But then towards the end of my career, I would say I kind of lost that. Like after my big league year, things like I would say the motivation kind of started to die down a little bit. And it was just, it felt more like a job. And maybe this was because like I achieved my dream of making it to the big leagues. And I just wish that I, kept this relentless like mentality about how I went about everything baseball related.
I'm happy for you. I'm proud of you. When
Thank you.
we got the text message, Jake's gonna be pitching this week. I think I watched as many games as you could possibly do. I talk on our show. People get mad at me. Jimmy, you never pay for a subscription. I bought an MLB subscription to watch you pitch. Okay, Jake?
Wow.
You owe me $29.99 for a year's worth of MLB.TV. No, I'm proud of you. It's cool to see late round picks like us make it
Yeah.
to the big leagues. It's even cooler to see guys who think like us, who are confident enough in themselves and the thing that they're building that they can bring something to the marketplace of whatever and have the people decide whether or not it's a good idea or not. And you're finding success in that. And that's what every single person I try to teach at Open Athletes and the conversations that we have here are because of that. So to have you as our first guest, the best. But to have you as a model for what a professional baseball career should look like, the confidence in taking that into the next level and to build something that you are like as passionate about, you are doing it right. You were doing all of the things that you should do in your baseball window.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for buying that subscription to watch me. That honestly means a lot. It's representative of just, that you were there to support me. So I appreciate that.
And we'll continue to do so. Send me anything you want me to send out to our folks. Text me any links you want me to share. I'll send it out in our newsletter today. We're going to have people watch this on back. So go to pitchlab.app. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. Pitchlab.app. Is there anywhere else you want them to follow you, Jake Fishman?
Yeah, you could see it. You can find us on Instagram at PitchLab app. We got people posting themselves using it all the time. Would love to see anybody, if you're using it out there, tag us in a video.
Cool. Thank you, buddy. I told you 15 quick minutes. We're going to get you in and out.
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
Thanks, man. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Jeremy.
See ya.
See you, man.
That's how we're going to do it here, folks. That's how we're going to run our interviews. Quick and easy. Some might go longer. Jake, a tight 15? Heck yes. That's everything that I want to teach to athletes who are watching the show. Certainly. Current, former minor league, major league athlete. Follow your passion. Follow the thing that you think can solve a problem. If it's in baseball, he's an expert in pitching. He was a major league professional baseball player and nasty. Like lefty down here, nasty. But he's a good dude who had an idea. You also might be a professional baseball player, might be a professional football player who's like, we need to have the same type of thing for offensive linemen. We might need to have the same type of thing for cornerbacks, point guards, whatever it might be. Number one, come to Open Athletes because we'll help you build it. You get a community that will include Jake, either as a mentor, if he has the time. He's running a really cool and successful business. Or to do a one-off Q&A event. The question I asked him was, how do you translate the thing that you did in sports to running a business? Well, being a left-handed pitcher is not going to teach you about the accounting, but it's going to teach you about the grit to just come out and just do the thing every single day. And to commit yourself to something that's as important, if not more important, than the thing that you're actually building, is the conviction that it's the right thing to build at the right time. And the conviction to know, how do I need to pivot? He said this product was really good, but people weren't using it. So he studied how to make it more exclusive, how to make it more luxury, how to make it more valuable. More people started using it when he put up a paywall. Guys like Jake Fishman, athletes who are actually building something on the ground, actually building a product, can teach you so much about what it's like to play during your career with an idea, with an interest to do something next. But also what it's like to transition into something and find that passion, find that drive elsewhere. Jake Fishman played one year in the big leagues and 9 years in minor leagues and internationally. We were in the same draft. He was a 30th rounder. I was a 31st rounder, both out of Division III. I was a left-handed hitter. He was a left-handed pitcher. I got injured. He didn't. I'm sure he did a little bit, but he didn't. He found his way to get to the big leagues. Used his time in the big leagues to say, I made it. This is the thing that I am convinced I'm going to do next. That drive is more important. Having a good idea is important. Having a team in your corner to help you build and help you stay sane, that's important. That's as important. And you can find that at Open Athletes. So come to Open Athletes. If you want to build a business, if you're an athlete who wants to build a business, come to Open Athletes, of course. Of course. Thank you, Jake Fishman, for being our first guest. Our amazing, new, wonderful, beautiful show. And we'll hope to have you on and see how things are progressing over the next 6 months, couple of years. I want you guys to see. And honestly, if he goes, we didn't have the money. Number one, can we find him the money? Can Athletes Fund help find him the money so that he can keep doing the thing that he's really, really, really passionate about? But number two, what if he's like, well, we actually pivoted into this type of tracking, or we expanded it from baseball to softball, softball to basketball, basketball to football, football to soccer, soccer to hockey. I'm really excited to see what comes from what Jake Fishman does. So proud of him. Good on him. Mind Ready, my company. Open Athletes is my company. I run a couple of different companies. Open Athletes is my favorite, though. Open Athletes is the thing I'm dedicating my time to. However, if somebody said, I need to figure out how to offer mental health to my team, to my workplace, to my people, Open Athletes can help you get in the room with Mind Ready. Can get in the room with other companies that can help solve your problems. Knowing if your community, your ecosystem is offering the most formidable mental health program that it possibly can. Number one, it's not. Is the workplace responsible for it? Yeah, there's a lot of things that workplaces can do to improve the mental health and well-being of your employees. Certainly. We've all seen it. We've all been there. But for a team, for a little league team, for a high school team, for a college team, for a professional team to say, what can we do here to improve the mental health? And how does improving mental health, improve our athletes on and off the field? Well, it does. When we were working with FC Tucson, we started doing group training with them. As a group, it was like a second locker room. They got things out, and then they won 13 games in a row. And you're telling me that those conversations that we had once a week and the work that we had them do after was just nah. I would say you're wrong. I would say there's proof in There's proof in the teamwork that we saw. There was data that we gathered from the amount of goals that they had, the amount of assists. Do things unfold on the field that you can't control? And can I compare it favorably to the things that MindReady was doing to help them? Sure, I can make the case. But they were 2-8, and then we came in, and then they won 13 in a row. Yeah, maybe they were just cold. PSG makes Gemini its brain, Pixel its camera. The technology story, sneaky important because of what it says. PSG, Paris Saint-Germain, Champions League winners, signed a multi-year Google partnership through 2029. Gemini becomes the club's official AI. Pixel, who nobody in the States kind of uses because everyone's going to have blue text messages. Pixel becomes its official phone. Per PSG and Inside World Football, Gemini powers the club's content creation. Players use Pixel to shoot behind-the-scenes content, kind of like Love Island. Google gets a product space in the Parc des Princes. Runs through 2029. Did you hear that French? That's 6 years of French in college and high school. Parc des Princes. This is not a logo on a sleeve, even though the Google logo is the Google logo. It's a sponsor embedding into how the club makes content and runs its operations. The most valuable sponsorship money is moving from the put your name on my stuff Chevy on Manchester United shirt to become the tool I use to make my stuff. Google's available at scale. We know that. It's Google. Google became the camera, the editor, the platform they'd use anyway. And PSG's charging 10 times. The catch, when the sponsor becomes your workflow, they own a piece of how you work. Ask PSG in 2029 how easy it is to switch this sponsorship. Maybe they keep it. Maybe they don't. Maybe they're like, well, it didn't work the way that we wanted it to. How are they going to utilize the technology that Google is building? Are they going to make AI slop BS? Or is it actually going to be like good behind the scenes sport material and content? I like PSG. I think they're just a cool, good organization. And we'll see. Topic number 6. Scott Coker's $60 million swing at the UFC. Man, everyone's making a swing. Everyone's taking a swing at UFC. We had Jake Paul taking a swing at the UFC. Scott Coker built Strikeforce and Bellator. They are launching a new global MMA league in 2027. Per the Hollywood Sports Reporter. $60 million led by Creator Sports Capital with Griffin Gaming Partners and others, including Tony Hawk. Coker is co-founder, CEO. Peter Levin, co-founder and chairman. Q1 2027, 4 worldwide events. An incredible demand for a fresh new global brand in mixed martial arts. Going after the UFC is a way to lose $60 million. Jake Paul had the distribution. Jake Paul merged with another company doing the exact same thing. Jake Paul has the foundation already to create something as successful or differentiated from UFC. Just starting something from scratch, going after UFC makes sense. The number one fighter complaint for a decade is how little revenue reaches the people getting punched in the face. Coker's wedges will treat athletes better. If their wedge to differentiate from the UFC is to treat athletes better, then how is the product going to differentiate? Well, if you pay guys better, you're going to get the highest talent. We talked about this with LIV Golf. If you give them lump sum or give them more money, the John Rahms are going to move over. Who's the John Rahm? Who's the Bryson DeChambeau in the UFC that says, I would like to make 2 times or 3 times as much for the same work? Okay. Is $60 million a way to get there? No. Maybe. How much advertising are they going to bring in? Is that just the first one? Are they going to raise more money? They're going to have to. Boxing, purses. Tyson Fury made... I don't want to search Google right now on while I'm live with you. Off the top of my head, I'm going to say more than $50 million if you were to win a fight. I would say less than $50 million if you were to lose a fight. And I think Conor McGregor, for the longest time, when he was reigning welterweight, blah, 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 feather, whatever champion, whatever weight champion, I think he was making $6 million a fight. Now, eyeballs, yes. But UFC was controlling how much money went to the athletes, and the athletes said, well, I'd rather make $6 million than zero. Compete in the marketplace. Competing is a good thing. Competing against PGA Tour made the PGA Tour better. How is the UFC going to see this competition and go, wow, we have to make things better for our athletes and the entertainment value better? That's up to them. But call me if you want to come on the show and talk about it. Josh Childress and the Athlete PE Playbook. I love this. Josh Childress, former Hawks and Suns forward, go Suns, made $45 million over 8 NBA years, was never an all-star, and now runs his own private equity firm and says his goal is to own an NBA or NFL team. Josh, you are the perfect example of what somebody who just had a good NBA career should do. A great NBA career. He played 8 years. Made $45 million. We talked yesterday, $45 million is not $45 million. $45 million is after taxes, agent fees, expenses, et cetera, 20. Then over the next couple of years, you spend it. How is it making money for you? Well, Josh Money's putting his money where his mouth is. More guys should diversify in this. We're talking about creating windows after your career. Jake Fishman is doing it because he said, I'm an expert in pitching. I have a computer scientist. I know that this in the hands of baseball players or potentially whatever sport is valuable. Leverage yourself as a former professional athlete. I'm doing it and getting guys on the show. Josh Childress is doing it, gets him in the room to invest millions of dollars into companies that he thinks are going to provide a return on investment. Per Front Office Sports, Childress runs a PE firm and wants to be a team governor. Women's sports as an asset class, a lot of that marketing spend is going to women's sports, of course. His motto was the late Junior Bridgman, weren't superstars, but tried to build businesses off the course that dwarfed what we were able to do on the court. His number one advice, always find a mentor, somebody that doesn't need anything from you. My advice, trust your gut on who that mentor is. Bridgman was a role player who built a Wendy's and Coca-Cola bottling empire worth over $500 million, dwarfing his on-court money. The point, you don't have to be Kevin Durant to be on the ownership side. A journeyman, Josh Childress. Journeyman is like 5 teams. Josh Childress played on a couple teams. You can take equity stakes and write $10,000 to $50,000 checks because organizations want your distribution and credibility. Organizations that he's going to invest in want Josh Childress on the cap table. Josh Childress is valuable. The thing that Josh Childress is doing is valuable. The things that they can get from Josh Childress because he's on the cap table is also valuable. Get a mentor who wants nothing from you is the most underrated line. Athletes take coaching on a jump shot for a decade and walk into a business convinced they can wing it alone. I want you to be part of Open Athletes so that I can help you and so that you can help me. What can you help me with? The thing that I love doing the most is having the types of conversations with Jake Fishman, or if he was going to call me and say, what should I do here? That's the thing I love the most. How do we think differently about the thing that we're doing? Josh Childress is like, I have capital. What do I do with it? I'm not going to sit on it and do nothing. And he's not building a media company. Some athletes are. Sure. They have the distribution or the reach or the name or the brand or whatever to build a media company. Yeah, do it if you want to. There's an opportunity to bring money in from subscribers and advertisers. And can you put that into other things? Or can you do the creation for other companies? Josh Childress is saying, I got couple $1 million I want to put towards some of these companies that I think are important, and I find joy from being in the room and having these conversations and thinking strategically about my position with this business and also the business's position in the marketplace. I will follow Josh Childress's lead because I think the thing that he is doing is incredibly important and impactful, and the thing that we need to pay attention to. Athletes are not just buying car dealerships anymore. They're not just putting their name on a restaurant. I might just copy and paste this onto every single take slide that we have. You own something incredibly important. The opportunity to get in the room, the opportunity to share your idea. I know who Josh Childress is because he played in the NBA. I'm interested in what Josh Childress does because I want to see what he does with that. That's your playbook. We talked about the Chicago Bears lineman getting $93 million guaranteed for his one job of protecting the most important asset that the team has. LIV Golf, instead of folding or merging with the PGA Tour, said we're going to go it alone and have our athletes be owners in the sport. The Braves ate $18 million on purpose to own the pipe to go directly to their fans. Protect the asset. Become the network. Get in the room. 100 college women signed up to unionize in Oregon State. Found a smarter door. These athletes found a smarter door. More than baseball found a smarter door. Be goodwill. Be funny. Be generous. Oregon State women's college basketball players, call me. I will help you. They found a way into the door. PSG made one sponsor its entire ecosystem of how it creates content, behind the scenes content, which is incredibly important, as we're seeing with Drive to Survive or Full Swing, Hard Knocks. Coker raised $60 million to build a league that treats fighters better, and Josh Childress is running the Bridgman playbook toward owning a team. Compile. Use your status as an athlete to get in the room. Jake Fishman, former MLB player, got to the big leagues, played in the Olympics. I believe he was on the 2020 Tokyo Olympic Team Israel. We were on that team together. We qualified for the Olympics together. That's how I was able to play with him and get to know him very well. How can they use their time in sport to build something outside of sport? 6 different stories, one idea. Everybody in modern business is racing towards owning the scarcest thing instead of renting it. So here's the question. What is the scarce thing you already own? And how can you keep from handing that thing away for free? Is it time? Is it expertise? Is it leverage? Is it distribution? When I was a 31st round pick, I was making minor league money, $3,000 a year. I qualified for the Olympics. I did not make much money from that. Nobody told me I owned anything scarce. Being a professional athlete, even not famous. I'm not a famous one. Not a famous one. Done a couple of articles on Washington Post. You Google me, I got a Wikipedia page. I didn't even put that photo there. I don't know. I am not. I'm not saying I know everything. I'm not saying I know 100% of what exactly you need to do. I'm just reporting the facts. How I think any athlete can handle this. And there's a lot you can take from this if you're not a professional athlete, but thinking about, what do I do for myself? What are these athletes doing that we can take from? As an athlete, how hard is it for me to get access to the room? It's less hard as a professional athlete. Number 2, does it give me access to capital? Sometimes, if you know the right people. I'm not your traditional former professional athlete. I'm a little more gregarious, I guess. Charismatic, we'll say. Most guys are just even-keeled. Some are flamboyant. Hopefully we can have Johnny Gomes on. That dude is one of a kind. So you're going to get different types of personalities. If you're a company thinking about how do I leverage the fact that I do have a professional athlete in my network, what can they do? Having Josh Childress on your cap table gets you an article in Washington Post. But can he open doors for you that you wouldn't have had otherwise? Probably yes. Can he get you capital? How can he help you ship the thing that's stuck? Does he know how to run a business, or does he just have capital? Don't take his money because he's a former NBA player and you played with him in the video games. Take his money because that money's going to open up doors for you. Trust your gut. When I started More Than Baseball, I was like, I trust that this is the right thing to do. And I trusted the type of people I got in my corner to do it. It would not have happened without Slade Heathcott, a former MLB, former first-round pick. He was playing for the Yankees and the A's at the time. It would not have happened without Simon Rosenblum Larson, who got drafted out of Harvard, was with the Tampa Bay Rays in the locker rooms. Would not have happened. Trust the people you're bringing on your team. Trust your gut on who you're bringing in your network. We were able to understand that the resource that the major league teams had was a scarce resource and that they weren't treating their players correctly. And we said, we'll do it for you. Don't spend the money. We'll do it. Just get us in the room. Getting in the room is the whole point. Your window, professional athlete or not, your window to have the motivation to do something is short and finite. And if you can build the audience and they can access the thing that you're doing easily, it's easy to understand who you are in the marketplace of so much content. I'm part of that problem now. We have our show. You know where to find me. You know where to find the clips. You get it. How can we keep our communities tight? Am I a valuable resource to you? I hope so. That's my job. That's the work I'm doing. I'm trying to help you understand how to take your next step while thinking through the things that are happening in sports business. It's talking about what the guaranteed contract is of the offensive lineman for the Chicago Bears. Is that the most important thing I can teach you today? No. Yes, maybe. But it's an example of the things that are A, happening in sport, and B, the way that we can conceptualize and actually apply those things. He's not being paid to catch balls. He's paid to protect the most valuable thing that the team has. What room can you walk into right now where you provide leverage? Because of who you are, what role you do and could play. What's something that couldn't buy your way into a room? Once you're in that room, what is your ask? A stake in the company, a meeting, an intro, a piece. You own one of the, if not the scarcest thing in the economy. That's incredibly valuable. You're a former professional athlete. Former college athlete's incredibly valuable too. Former Olympian, current Olympian. People want to be connected to that. All you got to do is ask. You don't need to give it away for free. So where is your value? What are you going to do to leverage yourself and present and bring value to whatever organization that gives you that excitement where it is worth spending the money for you? That's what we can take away from today. Thank you, Jake Fishman, for being our first guest on the show. Thank you for being here and listening and watching and subscribing. We're Open Athletes. I'm Jeremy Wolf, former MLB draft pick, founder of Open Athletes. I'll see you tomorrow.